Welcome back. Today we're discussing the Montreal real estate market for August of 2021, which is the July statistics. And I gotta tell you, at first, this one really stumped me. I couldn't figure out the numbers because sales in Montreal are down 30%. So I had to really do some digging on this one. And of course, as you know, if you've watched the other 3 videos already, this is part of a 5-part series where we go across the country. We hit 4 major markets, 4 Canadian real estate market updates. And then at the end, we're gonna hit Halifax because of how often it is asked for in the comment section below. But for today, Montreal's real estate update, this one is going to be a mind blower because there's some really interesting things that happened between July of last year and July of this year, which are showing some really interesting numbers and some really interesting data. But before we get into it, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. And don't forget about our race to 25,000 subscribers, where one lucky subscriber is going to win $5,000 to put towards their debt, to put towards their investments, to pay down their mortgage a little bit, or to use for down payment, or simply do with what they like. It's up to the winner. But in order to win, you have to subscribe. It's free, it's easy, it's definitely worth it. So go ahead, click that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the other side of the intro. The definitive guide on how to manage your credit, product, and elite price in that order. It's never been more important to get your mortgage right. Okay, so this one was a mind boggler for me. The Montreal real estate update. I gotta show you the headline from BNN. Montreal home sales, new listings dropped by about 30% each in July. So what the heck is going on here? Why are sales in Montreal falling by so much? And this one just made me think, and I just couldn't figure out what the heck was going on until I realized, oh yeah, there's something unique about Quebec. And there's something unique, well, there's a lot of things unique about Quebec, don't get me wrong, but there's something unique about the Quebec real estate market and what happened last year during the pandemic that probably had a major effect on sales last year compared to this year. So let's take a look right now. We'll go into it and we're going to take a look at the Montreal real estate market. And we are going to show you the Montreal real estate market's headline, sales return to pre-pandemic levels in July and price increases slow down. So let's talk about what's happening here. If we take a look at the small visuals that are available from the Quebec Professional Association of Real Estate Brokers. Hey, I got that one right compared to my mess ups continually on the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board's name, or I probably still got that wrong, but the Quebec Professional Association of Real Estate Brokers, they are saying in their July report that sales were down by 29% compared to July of 2020. Listings were down 20% compared to July of 2020, and prices are up 18%. So let's focus first and foremost on the easy one. Prices are up 18%. This doesn't mean that they jumped up this July by 18%. What it means is that over the last 12 months, prices have gradually risen. They've risen, and as a result, this July, they are 18% higher than last year, which is a pretty big number. Let's take a look. I want to see what the average price is here. Median price, sorry, they use median price in Quebec. Median price right now in July of 2021 is $500,500, and last year it was $423,135. Now, there's some interesting things happening here. So first and foremost, more than 50% of homes being bought in Montreal are still being bought at above the asking price. So what that means is that it's still a competitive market. Well, that doesn't make sense though, because sales are down 29%, listings are down 20%. Why would half of houses still be being bought at above asking price? Well, it has to do with this piece of Quebec real estate culture, let's call it. And it has to do with the fact that traditionally, most homes are bought and sold on July 1st. It's just something that happens. There's tradition. You can look it up on Wikipedia and see all the reasons why. We've covered it in previous videos. But typically, July 1st is a huge moving day. All the moving trucks are booked. All the lawyers are busy because they're trying to fund the deals. All the banks are busy because they're trying to make sure they have everything they need to fund the deals. It's just this chaotic day in real estate. And what happened last year was we got shut down for March, April, May, and the normal buying patterns in Quebec got pushed out by a month or two. So normally people would be looking in April, May, maybe even March, and they'd be setting their closing dates for July 1st because that's moving day. And typically the June numbers would be huge. But last year, what happened was the June numbers got pushed into July. So people started doing the actual activity of buying and selling in July and looking at houses in July rather than doing it in the months prior. And what this led to was a huge spike in the number of sales, the number of listings, because all that activity that would normally get done sooner got pushed back. And then what happens is we get to 2021, a year after the pandemic started, and we see these sales slumps. And that's because in Quebec, things went back to normal from the perspective of when people were looking at houses, when people were buying houses, when people were selling houses, and when people were taking possession. So without that context, and I'm really actually quite surprised that the Quebec Professional Association of Real Estate Brokers didn't provide that color commentary and that context, because without it, it seems like the Montreal real estate market is crashing, and it's not. It's just the activity got moved from July back to when it normally happens, to April, May, June. And that's what's going on here. This isn't a major crash in the Montreal real estate market. We can tell that because half of houses are still getting bought above list price. But what it means is that we're just seeing a change in when habits are happening, not a change in the actual habits themselves. So this one was really, really, really tough to figure out until you started to understand the unique things that were going on in the Quebec real estate market. And I'm not going to lie, I had to make some phone calls. I asked around, and it took me a little bit of work to get to the conclusion that we came to and to actually figure out what was happening there, because again, those numbers were absolute insanity. But if you live in Montreal, if you live in Quebec, rest assured that the market is not going to hell in a handbasket there. Just the timing of things changed. Now, one of the things that's really interesting was we saw some questions with respect to the Montreal real estate market versus Toronto and Vancouver, and why Montreal's housing prices are only $500,000 versus Vancouver and Toronto's when they're the third largest city in the country. And, they aren't even keeping up to Ottawa, for example. And well, I can't provide a definitive answer. I wanted to try to touch base on this and really give as much information as I can and as much commentary as I can in order to help you better understand this. So you have to understand that there's some things that have happened in different markets, right? In Vancouver, you saw a lot of foreign buyers, which caused the value of properties to go up over the last 5 to 10 years. And in Toronto, you've seen it become this destination city, and it is a city that is well known around the world and is just a great city to live in. And Montreal is one of my favorite cities in the world. But contrast it to a place like Ottawa, which I much prefer Montreal over Ottawa. But what's happening in Ottawa is you're seeing the health sector explode, and you're seeing the technology sector explode, led by a little company called Shopify, which is a Canadian company that is a worldwide organization now, publicly traded. Absolutely huge Canadian success story. And what happens is when you see different industries attract to a specific area, that brings people in, it brings net migration in, and that's what causes increases in prices. So Montreal, while being an incredible city, Quebec City being an incredible city, they just haven't seen that change in that adjustment in industry yet that draws in more workers and then draws in more people and therefore raises housing prices. So without going into a lot of detail, and I'm missing out on a lot of the intricacies and whatnot of the Montreal and the Quebec market, but just for a broad overview of what's happening and why Montreal's prices aren't going up as much as everywhere else, it is quite simply because certain things are happening, and Montreal's time will come. Believe me, it will come. But certain things have just happened in other markets that are leading more people to want to buy in places like Ottawa and Toronto, not because they necessarily want to live in those cities, but because those are where the jobs are, that's where the work is, and that's where the higher incomes are at this point. And at some point, Montreal's going to have an industry that starts to flourish. You're going to see a ton of net migration into the city, and it is going to do the exact same thing that happened in the other areas. It's the same thing for Calgary, right? When you look at Calgary, oil industry is not doing super well. It's starting to come back. When oil's doing well, people move in, and when oil's not doing well, people move out, and people have been moving out of Calgary. We're still pretty consistent because we've seen some technology booms and everything else like that. But for the same reason that Montreal isn't at $1 million price point, Calgary also is not. So it's just all about where people are moving, and what typically causes people to move is two things: lifestyle, and Montreal sure as heck has that, and jobs. And jobs is what's lacking right now, but at some point that will change and things will start to happen in Montreal and prices will start to go up. But for right now, what a great city, what a great value as far as a place to live. And if you're a remote worker and you're looking at different cities to live in Canada, I gotta say, Montreal would be at the top of my list, aside from the fact that I don't speak French, of course, but my wife does. So we'd probably make it through. Anyways, if you found this video useful, I think you would find our Homebuyer Bootcamp very useful. We're going to leave that Homebuyer Bootcamp open until August 16th. After that, we're closing it down till the fall. We're going to increase prices in the fall. We're probably going to make some changes to the course, but if you want in at the super low price that it is at right now, and you want to take part and you're looking at getting into the market in the next 2 to 3 months, that is where you want to be. But you only have until August 16th. We teach everything from how to get a mortgage to how to choose a realtor, how to write an offer, how to make sure you get the best deal on your property, and so on and so forth. Like start to finish, you will become one of the most educated buyers in Canada for a very small price and a very, very, very small investment in time. But if you want to get into it, you have to sign up by August 16th, because again, we're shutting that down till the fall, and it's going to be your last opportunity to get in at the price that's at now. And by the way, if we make any changes to that course, you will absolutely get them if you buy now. But if you wait, you aren't going to get it at the price that it's at right now. And outside of that, even if you don't join us, if you found this video useful, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. Don't forget about our race to 25,000 subscribers, and we'll see you on the next video, which is going to be our look at Halifax. We'll see you then. Cheers.